All right, so welcome to Intuition to Income 2025. This is Abby Gooch, your host, intuitive success coach. I'm so happy you're here because I love this awesome person that I just met and talk about intuition. So I'm like, I don't really know what you do. I just know you're supposed to be on the show and I really, really like you. And she's talking about this subject called true power. Now, because this show is Intuition to Income, we're going to talk about how power relates to that true power, not just the power of ego or power over, but power from love. And I know I haven't even talked to her about it, but I know that is truth. So, Jennifer, if you want to just introduce yourself and let's really dive into what true power is and how to show up fully in our best selves.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me, Abby. I'm very excited to be here. I just love your energy, and you're just such a bright light. So I'm tickled to be here. So True Power is my most recent endeavor. I have been in business for 23 years as a consultant and a coach and a culture consultant specifically, but a strategic facilitator, conflict resolution facilitator, coach, all kinds of things. I play a lot of different roles. But I wrote a book recently and I had not settled on a title until my book coach said, "Do you realize how much you use the phrase true power?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Do I really?" And he said, "Oh my gosh, it's constant." And I said, "Okay, well, then there it is."
Yeah.
And so that's our new brand. Our website's under development and the book is in publishing right now. But true power is our ability to be at complete peace with who we authentically are. And in the expression of that,
Yeah.
um, no matter what we're feeling, and to just stand in the confidence of knowing that we are worthy because we exist, and that we are here for good reason. And so it's really true power is just the expression of being completely at peace with who you are, knowing you are comprised of love and light. And just because you're having a moment with darker, harder feelings doesn't mean that that's not still who you are. It's just that those feelings are trying to show you something.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love it. I knew my intuition was right. I love it. I 100% agree with you. And I'm just going to repeat back true power is being authentically who you are.
Yes.
So, to me, when you're following your intuition, you are who you are. You are connected to the love and light within you, the practical aspect of it that's going to guide you to success the fastest. And it's going to give you that sense of peace because you're in alignment with truth,
Mhm.
right? So, how do you connect with your intuition?
It's such a great question. And as you asked me to be on the show, it's really caused me to contemplate that more than I have. I have been known my entire life as being intuitive. And even it comes on in my personality assessments and things that shows up, I'm highly intuitive. I've had clients who say, "Oh my gosh, are you psychic? How did you know this was going to happen?" And I don't I it's such a natural part of who I am that quite honestly, I went many years before I understood my own true power. I assumed that what I knew, everyone knew. And so when people would say, "Will you coach me? Will you do this?" I created a methodology because I thought, well, what am I going to tell you?
That you don't already know. No, I'm
I,
just
I
kidding.
wanted to have a guide, right?
Yeah.
But my whole methodology was built from my intuition. My business, I never intended to build a business. Here I am 23 years in. And so I think honing my intuition is just really a matter of trust.
Mhm.
And what I've said to so many clients over the years is oftentimes intuition makes us feel uncomfortable simply because it goes before the intellect. It goes out there before the intellect and draws in a truth for you that you don't have data to support. And so learning how to build that is trusting that if you're feeling or sensing something strongly, learning to trust to just go with it. The data will show up later to prove you to be,
Yeah.
on the right track.
Yeah.
But it comes down to me, it comes down to trust and faith.
Yeah. No, I love what you said, and it's so on point. It's so on point because, there's 500 million cells in your gut alone. So when you start doing the science around gut health and just what it is, it has that higher intelligence in your mind. So that's why when we trust our intuition, it's spot on. You're like you said, the facts, the data comes later. And, the easiest way is really to drop your awareness from your head into your heart, because as you do, you're going to connect to the energy to love within you and everything, which is actually truly going to make things more neutral. Because
Mhm.
it's funny, I used to talk to my old business manager about this, like love is neutral. It actually, because love just is. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful, but it just is, right? And if something isn't of the love or if somebody isn't coming from love, right? So when you're tuned in with your heart, you're feeling things. Then you bring it into your gut. So it must pass through your heart first, then to your gut. That is your point of your center point and your inner compass that's going to say, hey, go left or go right. It just knows that it knows, like you were talking about, right? It's that certainty. And then your mind's like, oh, yeah, that's why that worked out, right? It's like it kind of
Yeah.
becomes a joke later, right? So I just love that you're doing that. And that's really my mission to inspire everybody to do that, because that part of you that knows is your soul guiding you. If you want to go spiritual and not religious, just spiritual, and also from a business perspective, the most practical way to achieve your goals. So when you're trusting that and you're taking action on it, you're going to see positive results. I can promise you that.
Yes. Yeah. And so often we lose our power or we give away our power because all those voices in our head from our upbringing or our cultural dictates or, cultural norms in our workplace and our families and in our communities say something different,
Mhm.
right? And so then we superimpose shame, fear, judgment,
Yeah.
criticism.
Yeah.
We cast a shadow on it, and then we've lost our power. And the best way to know when that's happening is you feel negative emotions.
So I have a question. How do you almost shield yourself from that, right? So if somebody's judging you and you feel like, "Ooh, I feel shame," because it's awesome that you brought up that word, because I'm like, wait, shame is actually not even our own energy, it's somebody's judgment of us. So it's
Yes.
not even a real thing. So you're accepting, or if you do, like me, I've done this before, like accepted it, and it's like, ooh, so how do you not accept something that isn't true for you?
Yeah. And so that acceptance is coming from your internal neural processing somewhere within you that took on that belief.
Mhm.
And so it's all of it comes from within. And that's where our true power is. It's from within us. So when we get off course and we accepted something other than
What is
the
true
love
for us?
and what is right, then we have to come back and say, if I'm the owner of my power, then how did I let myself get off course? What was it inside of me that accepted that to be true in that moment? And that's when you go fishing into the unconscious of, oh, wow, that is in there. And then you pull it to your conscious mind. And that's when you can make a choice. And that's your free will. And that is your true power.
And so you're basically like, hey, now I'm aware of this person judging me, for example. At one point, I took that belief on. I know it's actually not true because of the love and light within me and my intuition, my knowing is saying that's not true. I no longer accept that. I choose what is true. And that's your true power.
Yeah. And there can be some really deep levels of unconscious um, beliefs or bias inside of you. And when I say unconscious, I mean unconscious. Like we would take it to the point of saying you wouldn't even have drawn that person's judgment in had it not first existed inside of you.
Right. Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
And so when we have those experiences from outside of us, if we can just simply remember that it's not about them,
Yeah.
right? We give our power away to other people all the time.
Yeah.
When we understand that we hold the power, and once we make that conscious shift inside of us, all of that goes away. Everything shifts on outside of us.
Yeah.
And so that is our true power. but we have to constantly remind ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and not let ourselves get off course from what happens outside of us, be it the judgment or the criticism or the reflection, but to recognize that if that's coming up, it's just coming up to remind us, to show us, to get back on course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To get back to who we are, like what is the truth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Get back to your center. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I knew I'd love this conversation. So, how have you found by following your intuition and staying in your true power that you've created more income in your life, in your business?
It's very funny. I have just been contemplating this lately. And again, I think it's because you've reached out to me, so I'm thinking, I'll be- um, and what I was recognizing is a cycle of beliefs that I was raised on. I was raised in the Midwest. Everything was about working hard. If you weren't working hard, you weren't going to make a living. And so, all of those beliefs, and for all of us, our core belief system, which is our core neural circuitry, right? If you think of your brain as hardware and you think of your neural circuitry as software, then before you were even conscious of it, you were downloaded with all kinds of apps that you never chose,
Yeah,
right?
love
And
it.
then you wonder why you have these experiences. It's like, okay, well, that was how I was programmed. And so this is what I've been creating. And so a vicious cycle that I found myself in what was twofold. One was that I would overwork. I would go into workaholism in order to believe that I had worth or that I was worthy of making this money, right? And then the second thing was when I caught on to that, and I had to nip that in the bud. And I only did that because of a chronic health diagnosis on the heels of workaholism, and that was what actually I created my methodology from. Was what I learned at that stage of my life many years ago. But then the second thing that I had to become aware of and outgrow is the idea that there's never enough. There's never enough money. And that's because I was raised in a home where my father was an outstanding father, outstanding. But he was not a very good breadwinner. He had a revolving door of jobs. And really, that was because he never gave himself permission to do what he actually loved. And it wasn't until many medical, I mean, he was a double amputee. He had his first amputation at the age of 54. He had a hemorrhagic stroke. And, 20 years after that, from 54 to 74, he had multiple really awful medical traumas. It was because of that that he was forced into disability. And it was because of that that he was forced into doing what he loved. And he became an athletic director. And he would laugh and say, well, I mean, I can't make any money. I don't make any money. I probably put so much into this that I make about a quarter an hour if all was said and done, but I'm having the time of my life. And he then became incredibly beloved by the entire community. And it was so he was not a good breadwinner because he had been operating all those years in his prime of his life. He was running on a bad belief system
Mhm.
about what he should be doing instead of living his authentic life.
Right.
We as kids then downloaded, unbeknownst to us, the idea that there's never enough money. And so when you have an operating system that says that, you somehow create
Yeah.
a vicious cycle that shows you that there's never enough money.
Right.
And so I've had to overcome all those things and apply my own methodology
Yeah.
to my own life
Yeah.
in order to break free of all those things. And
Mhm.
so much of that was my intuition.
Yeah.
So much of that was I can't go that traditional route. That route is not for me.
Mhm.
And it
Yeah.
takes a lot of courage to do that because no one else around you has your intuition. So they don't understand what you're operating from.
Yeah.
No, you're not on the course that they are used to.
Mhm. The road
But,
less traveled.
but
You created your own path. Yeah. I mean, you literally
yes,
you forged it. Yeah.
and I could not have done this if I had not listened to my intuition. There's no way.
Well, you healed yourself by listening to your intuition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obvious.
Yeah.
Um, and I really appreciate you sharing your story. And I know everybody has their own hardware where they have a belief that is maybe different than yours or maybe the same. and it's running. And so when you get consciously clear and you follow your intuition and you do, whether it's your methodology or mine or anybody's to clear that, you have like a fresh new computer. Like I got my computer wiped like, I don't know, a month ago. And I was like, wow, like it's literally all gone. How do I like put new stuff on it? Right. It took a while, but it's like you get like a fresh start. And so start with your gut, open your heart, start with your gut to create what you really want. Right. Because obviously you don't want to be running on those old programs. So I just, yeah, just to bring it, home and center to everybody listening, like even to write down like, hey, like what program, what unconscious or conscious program am I running right now that's stopping me from having what I want in my life?
Yeah,
And that's your subconscious belief to get cleared, right?
that's
And
right.
and notice, right? Like whether it's coming up in relationship or health or wherever, it is showing you something. Like I love, love, love the way you said, like, you might be experiencing dark emotions, and I'm paraphrasing what you said, but those aren't you. You still are the love and light. So you're experiencing a vibration of energy, but it's like it's just energy telling you something.
Yeah,
And so like to get that message, and then to be able to release that, to then, get back in your true power even more. Okay, what's true for me? What is my intuition telling me?
yes.
Yeah.
Where did I give my power away? And usually it is whatever you're fixated on, that person, that thing, that
Yeah.
lack of something,
Yeah.
right? And so it's not hard to know when you've given your power away.
Right.
What is more challenging is catching yourself doing it,
Yeah. And then
right?
me, I'm like, well, how do you get it back? So you're telling us, right? You just redirect, but like, is there anything you want to add on that? Because I'm instant like solution oriented. Like, let's reiterate. How do you get it back? So if you find yourself, oh, I just gave my power away to this thought, to this person, to this situation, whatever. Okay, how do I reroute and get back on track? I know you said it before. I just think it's good to reiterate
Yeah.
because it just want people to have that easy access of like the new freeway.
No, I get it. So that is part of the JMAC method. So that's the methodology I created 25 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and within that methodology is little something I call the prosperity formula.
Oh,
It's really about just remember three F's. One is fulfillment, one is familiar, and one is faith. So if you think about fulfillment, you think, what would be fulfilling to me? Or what vision do I have for my life that would feel fulfilling? And how would I fulfill that as a goal?
yeah.
And so the first thing you've got to do is get back to, well, what makes my heart sing? If
Mhm.
this moment doesn't make my heart sing, what does? And redirect your mind back to what gives you, what re-energizes you, what brings you back to your passion, your purpose, your joy. And you may not know what that is, and that's okay. Just don't superimpose judgment on yourself for not knowing. Start small. Start with any thought that gives you even a tiny bit of energy and follow that trail.
Yeah.
That's why people do vision boards, right? Because you may not know. So you flip through a magazine until you see a picture that makes your heart,
Yeah.
sing.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. That's the fulfillment. You got to look at what do you really want to have on your heart, and in your mind. And
Yeah.
then the familiar is how do I take this moment and recognize that if I'm feeling this way, this is because it's familiar. My brain has taken me down this rabbit hole because of this person or this situation was the catalyst. What is familiar about this?
Mhm.
What is familiar about this? And what belief do I have that is underneath this familiar feeling or situation that I need to look at and change?
Mhm.
I need to choose a different belief because it's not the person that's causing me to feel this way. It is what the person evoked inside of me.
Mhm.
And so finding out what that is. And then once you do that, it's taking an action. So faith is take an act of courage, move toward that vision, do
Yeah.
one little thing that gives you joy, and you've moved yourself out of that situation and back into your power. And then you'll know because you'll feel that joy.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So good. No wonder you're successful. This works. So good. I just love when people give a real experience of it, right? Because when you have the experience, it becomes yours, right? It's wisdom then. So I really love that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
It's very
Yeah.
cool.
I've been through a lot and I have held myself accountable to everything I teach. I've told every client, hundreds of clients over the years, like, I will never ask you to do something I haven't done myself.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like since I was 19, I started, I'm like, I am living it. That's
Yeah.
integrity, because if
Yeah.
not, I can't teach you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. It's like our life is a petri dish and we're constantly studying it so that
Yeah,
we can share.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, is there anything you want to add or share with the audience? Any advice, insights, anything that just comes?
I think, a lot of times when we learn these principles, we will trade out feeling victimized because we realize, well, we've got to take accountability, right? Maybe we'll trade that feeling out for guilt. Maybe we'll feel guilty. Why did I do that? Why did I, and I think that if I had to leave everybody with one thing, it is grace and gratitude.
Hmm.
Give yourself grace all day, every day, and the world will bend to your favor. It's like a double whammy, right? If we know we've gotten off course because we've given our power away to something or someone else, then we don't want to double down and shame ourselves for doing that or blame ourselves for doing that or criticizing ourselves, right? Or feeling guilty. I should know better. I should know better. Like, get rid of should and just give yourself grace and then immediately shift into gratitude. What am I grateful for in this moment that helped me get back to my center? Because when you have grace and gratitude, you immediately start a higher frequency. You've elevated your energy and you are certainly on your way back to your center if you're not already there.
Right. 100%. I love that. So well said, Jennifer.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Well, thank you so much for showing up. I'm wondering, how can people find out about your next book and also a way to contact you?
Sure. So I have one book that is in the last stage of publishing right now that's more bent toward leadership. I have another book that I'm writing just called True Power, and it's going to be all about the deep dive of how we give our power away, how to get it back, how to keep it. That will be coming out at the end of the year. With these and this whole idea is coming a new website. So I'm asking everyone to go to my current work consulting, I should say, consulting website called JMAC Consulting. It's jmacconsulting.com. And you'll see it's all about culture consulting. So that might throw you off a little. The True Power website is in development as we speak. I cannot wait to launch it. But you can go there and just hit the contact button. It will come directly to me.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, just follow your intuition to connect with her, right? It's just she's giving you the way because she's in transition, but you will definitely know. So, yes, I obviously highly recommend her. And the other question I want to ask you before we log off is, because I just love it, is how has following your intuition to greater income helped you serve more people?
You know, um, if I if I could encapsulate how many times somebody has said to me, like, this will make me cry in a good way.
No, I knew I was supposed to ask the question. It's so much about the show and who I am. So every speaker has
Yeah.
it. So to me, I
Yeah.
just watch the light drop into you and I'm like, yep, she's going.
I feel incredibly humbled to do what I do. I was called to do it. I defied every thing that I was taught to do it. I was judged. All these things. I went through very difficult times. And I stayed the course because I knew this was why I was on the planet. And it was never about making the money.
Yeah.
It was always about making the world better.
Yeah.
And so my true wealth, in my opinion, has always been from every client who's said to me, oh my gosh, I'll never forget when you said this to me. It was life changing. Or, oh my gosh, I never believed that this could be my life. And oh my gosh, I still remember the first day I met you and I thought, I'm just going to trust her because I don't know that, um, countless moments like that. And I have always felt incredibly grateful and humbled to have had that many people say that to me.
Mhm.
And it is those moments in my life that propelled me to keep going, to keep following my intuition, to stay the course,
Yeah.
um, and to maintain this career path. Um, and so, I mean, it's kind of a strange answer to your question, but it's that's that's the only thing that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, it's the
Because
perfect
it
answer.
makes my heart explode with gratitude because it's so humbling. I always feel like I'm just a
Yeah,
messenger.
yeah, yeah.
I'm just a messenger. And thank you for listening, and for heeding it because the whole point is to improve each person's life.
Mhm.
It's not about mine. I get that gift as a byproduct.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I love it. It's the absolute perfect answer. And it's the same way I operate. Like just even last week, it was like talking to a client and like, she's like, wow, you just changed whatever it was. It was like, I was like, this is why I do this,
Yeah,
like just because it's like each
exactly.
reason why. And so when your reason why is for helping people, not only will the money follow in my experience, but it is the true fulfillment of wealth because it is the fulfillment, just that word. It's just you are truly fulfilled at the deepest level of your being because we all are one, right? So it's
Yeah,
kind of like, oh my God, by serving this person, I kind of served myself. I served the whole. It's always something greater than ourselves. So your intuition will put you in alignment with that. So that's
yeah,
why, we're talking to you about this and how can you apply it in your life of what do you love? What makes your heart sing? That's your heart opening. Then your gut. Oh my God. Okay. I took that action. I had that faith. I had that, you said act of courage, right? So it's kind of like, you'll see as you do it. And so
yes,
to me, like, I'm always like, okay, as long as my heart is pure and my intention is to serve, I'll always be taken care of. And then, I get
yes,
sent to countries or wherever I'm supposed to go next because it's like you said, you're the messenger, you're in flow of the light. And it's just, it's helping so many people. So that's
yes,
why I wanted to ask the question, is I knew you'd have an amazing answer. And that's really the message of really this show, right? Like we don't charge for this. Like
yes,
my whole way of doing this has always been this way because it needs to be this way. It's for everybody to get this message that wants it and to be like, hey, intuition is free. You're free. Enjoy yourself. Here's
yes,
some ways that you can open to more of who you are. Remember who you are if you've forgotten. Get back into your power if you've given it away. I think we probably all have. And if you want to go deeper, here's some ways you can reach out to us. Like we're here for you,
yes,
book a consult, whatever. Like I get chills. Like we've got your back. And I'm
yes.
pretty sure we've all been there. Like anybody I ever invite, like I just know that I know that I know. And that's why it's just hilarious, this whole thing. Like I was like, wait, what do you do? And it's like, so you're
Yes.
like such an amazing person. And I knew it, right? But it's kind of fun to be in the mystery and the magic of it. Like, oh, I'm just going to go with this and we're going to
Yeah,
see why.
I know. When you came out of the blue, it was like, wow,
I don't
what
even know how I
is
found out about you. I really don't, honestly.
Yeah, and so I want to let everyone know, like, if you don't want to go to my website to find me, you can just email me directly at jennifer@jmetconsulting.com. I'm happy to take any emails and inquiries. And Abby, on that point that you just made, that was the reason why I called the formula, the prosperity formula, is I want us all to expand our idea about what wealth is. To prosper is to thrive. And yes, that requires money, and we always want more money. But it's not the whole story. Thriving is being in your power. Thriving is having the courage to be who you truly are and acting on that and following what is screaming at you in your heart to get your attention, and just step into it and everything else shows up just as you said.
Yeah.
And I'm on a mission. Like that's why I work with the corporate sector too, is because I'm teaching them how to shift from just bottom line thinking and profitability to prosperity and the wellness of the employees and the environment and all those things. So
Mhm.
I hope we can all decide to adopt that broader understanding.
Mhm. I love that. Wow. Well, thank you so much for showing up today and for everyone for listening to your intuition to bring you here today. And we will see you on the next episode. Bye.